First contact gone wrong. The celestial Concordat survey fleet emerged from fold space at the edge of the Sol system, their sleek crystalline ships catching the distant sunlight like precious gems. High Commander Vexterra stood on the bridge of the flagship Eternal Dawn, their 4 arms clasped behind their back as they studied the primitive system before them. The scans showed exactly what their long-range probes had indicated: a developing civilization, barely able to reach their own moon, with quaint radio transmissions still being their primary means of interstellar communication. Another simple integration, Vexterra announced to their bridge crew, mandibles clicking in what passed for a smile among their kind. Preliminary analysis suggests they haven't even developed basic gravitic manipulation. We'll follow standard procedure for pre-spacefaring races. The Concordat had performed this dance countless times before. Find a promising species, demonstrate overwhelming technological superiority, and offer them a choice: join as a protectorate or face isolation from the galactic community. Most chose the former, eager to gain access to advanced technology and trade networks. Those who refused usually came around within a generation, once their youth realized what opportunities they were missing. "Launch the Herald drones," Vexterra ordered. "Let's make our presence known." 12 crystalline spheres detached from the fleet, streaking toward Earth's major population centers. They would position themselves above the largest cities, project massive holograms visible to millions, and broadcast the Concordat's standard first contact message in all local languages. It was meant to be overwhelming, shocking, and awe-inspiring. The drones never reached their destinations. "High Commander." The sensor operator's voice carried notes of confusion and alarm. "The drones, they're gone." "Gone." Vexterra's inner eyelids flickered rapidly. "Explain." "They just vanished. No debris, no energy signatures. They simply ceased to exist the moment they crossed the orbital path of the human's primitive satellite network." Before Vexterra could process this information, more alerts began flooding in. Their long-range sensors were going dark, communication relays failing, and even their quantum-entangled backup channels experiencing unprecedented interference. "Impossible," Vexterra muttered. "Their technology level couldn't possibly." Multiple contacts. The tactical officer's crystalline interface was pulsing with urgent patterns. Emerging from behind their lunar body, no fold space signatures detected. They were already there. The main view screen shifted to show what appeared to be crude vessels, blocky and inelegant compared to the Concordat's organic crystalline designs. They looked like they had been cobbled together from basic metals and primitive composites, barely more advanced than simple chemical rockets. "These cannot be warships," Vexterra declared, though uncertainty had crept into their voice. "Where are their gravitic shields? Their quantum arrays? They're not even using proper drive systems." The human ships were accelerating toward the Concordat fleet, and something about their approach made Vexterra's spine plates bristle. There was a predatory quality to their formation, a sense of purpose that seemed at odds with their apparently primitive nature. "They're launching projectiles." The tactical officer sounded incredulous. "Simple kinetic weapons. High Commander, these are barely more than rocks being thrown at high speed." Vexterra began to issue orders for defensive screens to swat away such primitive attacks, but the words died in their throat as they watched the impossible unfold. The human projectiles weren't following normal ballistic trajectories. They were changing course, accelerating, splitting apart into swarms of smaller objects that seemed to dance through space with impossible precision. New energy signatures. Multiple officers were shouting now. "The projectiles are evolving, reconfiguring. We're detecting materials and energy patterns that weren't there a moment ago." The first wave hit the Concordat's outermost ships. Their advanced shields, designed to deflect energy weapons and gravitic attacks, proved surprisingly vulnerable to what appeared to be simple chunks of metal. But these weren't simple kinetic weapons. Each impact triggered cascading reactions, the projectiles seeming to phase between different states of matter and energy in ways that defied the Concordat's understanding of physics. Full retreat, Vex Terra ordered, their confidence shattered. All ships, emergency fold space jump. But the humans had thought of that too. Their crude-looking vessels had somehow created a localized distortion in spacetime, making fold space calculations impossible. The Concordat fleet was trapped in normal space, facing an enemy that seemed to be rewriting the rules of warfare with every passing moment. As their ships began falling to the humans' incomprehensible weapons, Vex Terra finally understood their critical error. They had assumed that technological advancement followed a predictable linear path, that a civilization without gravitic manipulation couldn't possibly pose a threat to their crystalline ships. But humanity had taken a different path entirely, developing technologies that the Concordat had never even conceived of. The last transmission from the Eternal Dawn before it succumbed to the human assault was a warning to the Concordat. Beware the humans. They do not follow the normal rules of technological progression. They have mastered sciences we never even imagined, hidden behind a facade of primitive simplicity. Do not underestimate them again. In the aftermath, as the remaining human ships moved to secure the debris field, their commanders received a simple message from Earth Command. First contact protocol successful. The galaxy now knows we're not to be trifled with. Far beyond the Sol system, the celestial Concordat would spend years trying to understand how they had been so thoroughly deceived and defeated. They had expected to find a primitive race ready for uplifting. Instead, they had discovered that humanity had been preparing for this moment for generations, developing technologies that appeared primitive on the surface but contained innovations that would revolutionize warfare throughout the galaxy. The age of human isolation was over, but not in the way anyone had expected. The galaxy would have to adapt to humanity's presence, not the other way around. And in the decades to come, many would wonder, what other surprises were the humans hiding behind their deceptively simple exterior? The pride of Earth. In the weeks following humanity's decisive victory over the celestial Concordat, the United Earth Defense Force began the delicate process of revealing just how far human technology had advanced in secret. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility known only to a select few, Director Sarah Chen stood before a gathering of Earth's most influential leaders. "What you're about to see," she announced, gesturing to the massive holographic display dominating the chamber, "represents 50 years of humanity preparing for exactly this moment." Project Chimera wasn't just about building better weapons. It was about fundamentally reimagining what technology could be. The display flickered to life, showing what appeared to be a conventional battleship, albeit one of unprecedented size. Its hull was a patchwork of seemingly crude metal plates, bristling with what looked like outdated missile tubes and radar arrays. To an alien observer, it would appear hopelessly primitive compared to their crystalline ships. That was exactly the point. The RSS Prometheus, Chen continued, represents humanity's greatest achievement in adaptive technology. Those crude metal plates, quantum-entangled metamaterials capable of restructuring themselves at the atomic level, those primitive missile tubes, launch systems for our MMORPG-US swarm weapons, which can reconfigure themselves mid-flight to counter any defense they encounter. The hologram zoomed in, revealing layers upon layers of technology that defied conventional understanding. What appeared to be simple steel and titanium was actually an intricate dance of particles in constant flux, held together by forces that humanity had discovered by accident while researching something else entirely. "We didn't follow the expected path of technological development," Chen explained. "When we couldn't crack gravity manipulation, we invented something better. When quantum computing proved too unstable, we developed biological digital hybrid systems that make traditional quantum computers look like pocket calculators." One of the assembled leaders raised a hand. "But why maintain the deception? Why make our ships look primitive?" Chen smiled. "Because humanity's greatest advantage has always been being underestimated. The Concordat's defeat wasn't just about superior firepower. It was about shattering their fundamental assumptions about how technology should progress. The hologram shifted again, showing footage from the recent battle. The leaders watched in awe as seemingly simple projectiles split apart mid-flight, each fragment containing complex systems that had remained dormant until the moment of impact. What looked like crude armor plates absorbed energy weapons by channeling them through dimensional spaces that shouldn't exist, while propulsion systems that appeared to be simple chemical rockets were actually manipulating spacetime itself. Every piece of technology on the Prometheus serves multiple functions, Chen continued. Those radar dishes, they're actually nodes in a network that can temporarily rewrite local physics. The communication arrays, they don't just transmit messages, they can alter the fundamental properties of matter within their range. But the true genius of the Prometheus lay in its adaptive capabilities. The ship wasn't just equipped with advanced technology. It could evolve that technology in real time, learning from every encounter and developing countermeasures on the fly. The Concordat failed because they assumed technology had to follow a linear path, Chen explained. Gravity manipulation, then faster than light travel, then energy weapons, and so on. But humanity, we jumped straight to asking why we needed gravity manipulation when we could just tell gravity to go take a lunch break instead. The presentation continued, revealing innovation after innovation. Weapons that didn't just fire projectiles but released swarms of self-replicating nanomachines disguised as ordinary bullets. Shields that didn't try to stop attacks, but rather redirected them into pocket dimensions where they could be studied and countered. Power systems that didn't generate energy, but instead borrowed it from parallel universes where different physical laws applied. The Prometheus isn't just a warship, Chen concluded. It's a testament to human ingenuity, to our ability to think sideways when we can't go forward. And now that the galaxy knows we exist, it's time to show them what humanity can really do. As if on cue, sensors detected multiple fold space ruptures at the edge of the solar system. The Concordat was returning, this time with what appeared to be their main battle fleet. But instead of panic, the room was filled with anticipation. Perfect timing, Chen said, her smile widening. The Prometheus has been itching for a proper field test, and wait until they see what else we've been hiding. The assembled leaders watched as the massive ship began powering up, its seemingly primitive exterior beginning to shimmer with possibilities. The Concordat thought they were returning for revenge. Instead, they were about to become unwitting participants in the next phase of human technological revelation. In orbit, the crew of the Prometheus prepared for battle, each of them knowing they were about to make history again. Humanity had spent generations preparing for this moment, developing technologies that didn't just push the boundaries of possibility. They'd redefined what possibility meant. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's first victory hadn't been a fluke. It had been a warning shot, fired by a species that had chosen to look primitive precisely because it had advanced far beyond anyone's expectations. Battle in the void. The Concordat battle fleet materialized at the edge of the solar system in a dazzling display of crystalline ships, their formations spanning thousands of kilometers. Leading the armada was the Sovereign Light, a vessel 3 times the size of their previous flagship. Grand Admiral Engsteth stood at its command center, surrounded by the finest tactical minds the Concordat had to offer. "Let them see our full might," Engsteth declared, their crystalline exoskeleton gleaming with bioluminescent patterns of anticipation. "No more underestimating these humans. No more assumptions. We strike with everything we have." The fleet began its advance, deploying in the Concordat's infamous Shattered Star Formation, a battle strategy that had broken countless civilizations. Thousands of smaller craft swarmed between the capital ships, their crystalline forms refracting sunlight in a terrifying display of power. Near Earth, aboard the RSS Prometheus, Captain Maya Rodriguez watched the approaching armada with calculated interest. Her bridge crew, each chosen for their ability to think creatively under pressure, maintained a steady calm that would have seemed unnatural to most species facing such overwhelming odds. They've adapted their shields to counter our previous tactics, her tactical officer reported. The crystalline structures are now phasing at random frequencies. Our standard MOR-PGUS swarms won't be as effective. Rodriguez nodded, having expected nothing less. That's why we don't use standard anything. Initiate protocell defense grid. Let's show them what asymmetric warfare really means. The space around Earth began to change. What appeared to be simple debris from the previous battle suddenly came alive. Fragments of destroyed ships, scattered pieces of metal, even dust particles, all began moving with purpose, coalescing into structures that defied conventional physics. The Concordat fleet's advance faltered slightly as their sensors tried to make sense of what they were seeing. The debris wasn't just forming shields or barriers. It was creating an ever-shifting maze of spatial distortions, gravitational anomalies, and quantum entanglements. Impossible, one of Engsteth's advisors muttered. They're using the remnants of our own ships as building blocks for. What are they even building? The answer came in the form of an attack unlike anything the Concordat had ever encountered. The debris field wasn't just a defensive measure. It was a vast, distributed weapon system. Each particle contained a fraction of the Prometheus's adaptive technology, working in concert to create effects that scaled up from quantum to cosmic levels. The first wave of Concordat ships to enter the field discovered that the laws of physics had become negotiable. Their crystalline hulls, designed to channel and amplify energy, suddenly found themselves conducting forces that shouldn't exist. Ships began to age thousands of years in seconds, then reverse back to their original state, their crews experiencing time differently across different decks. Status report. Engsteth demanded as the fleet's formation began to break down. Unknown, Admiral. Our sensors. They're reporting that we're simultaneously in 50 different positions, experiencing 3 different time streams, and existing in states of matter that we don't have words for. The Prometheus, meanwhile, began to demonstrate why humanity had chosen to make it look so primitive. Its hull started to transform, the seemingly crude metal plates flowing like liquid one moment and becoming harder than neutron star matter the next. The missile tubes that had appeared so obsolete began launching weapons that the Concordat sensors couldn't even classify as matter or energy. They're not just fighting us, one of Engsteth's scientists realized, horror creeping into their voice. They're using this battle to test theories about the fundamental nature of reality. Indeed, each engagement between human and Concordat forces seemed to be generating data that the Prometheus absorbed and adapted to in real time. Every failed attack taught it new principles of physics. Every successful defense revealed new possibilities for manipulation of space-time. But the true surprise came when a third force entered the battle. Deep space sensors detected massive energy signatures approaching from multiple vectors. Both human and Concordat forces paused as enormous vessels of unknown design emerged from what appeared to be holes in the fabric of reality itself. This is the Eternal Observatory. A transmission reached both fleets simultaneously. We have been watching your battle with great interest. Your species' approach to technological development is unexpected. The new arrivals, it turned out, represented a civilization so advanced they had long ago abandoned physical form entirely. They had been secretly observing younger races, hoping to find one that might break free from conventional technological development. Humanity, the observers continued, has demonstrated an unprecedented ability to reimagine the possible. The Concordat's linear progression of technology, while impressive, represents only one path among infinite possibilities. This conflict has proven that humanity's chaotic, adaptive approach may actually be closer to the universe's true nature. Captain Rodriguez and Grand Admiral Engsteth found themselves faced with a choice that would reshape the galaxy. The Eternal Observatory offered both civilizations an opportunity to learn truths about the universe that neither had imagined possible, but only if they could set aside their conflict and combine their different approaches to understanding reality. As the battle came to an unexpected halt, The debris field that had been weapons and shields moments before began assembling itself into something new. A bridge between ships, a physical manifestation of the possibility of cooperation between radically different ways of thinking. The galaxy waited to see what would emerge from this impossible moment, as humanity's chaotic innovation, the Concordat's ordered progression, and the observer's transcendent knowledge hung in the balance. Three perspectives on a universe that had just become far stranger and more wonderful than anyone had imagined. Turning the tide. The Great Hall of the Eternal Observatory's diplomatic vessel defied description. Its walls seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Its floor appeared both solid and ethereal, and its ceiling opened to views of realities that human and Concordat minds struggled to comprehend. Here, aboard this impossible ship, representatives from three vastly different approaches to civilization gathered to reshape the future of the galaxy. Director Sarah Chen sat across from Grand Admiral Engsteth, while beings of pure energy and thought that called themselves the observers flickered between states of existence around them. The atmosphere was tense, yet charged with possibility. Your species, an observer addressed both parties, its form rippling like heat waves over desert sand, represent two paths we have long theorized might lead to greater understanding. The Concordat pursued mastery through orderly progression, building each discovery upon the last in careful sequence. Humanity chose to leap sideways, backwards, and sometimes through previously unknown dimensions entirely. Engsteth's crystalline form shimmered with complex emotions. But surely there must be a correct path, a proper sequence of technological development. That, the observer replied, is precisely the limitation we hoped some species might transcend. The universe is not a ladder to be climbed, but an ocean to be explored in all directions simultaneously. Director Chen leaned forward, her eyes bright with curiosity. That's why our seemingly chaotic approach caught your attention. We didn't just think outside the box. We questioned whether boxes needed to exist at all. The implications of this meeting were staggering. The observers revealed that they had been watching countless civilizations, hoping to find ones that might break free from conventional patterns of development. The Concordat's methodical approach had produced incredible achievements, but it was humanity's willingness to embrace apparent impossibilities that had finally triggered the observer's direct intervention. Consider your recent battle. Another observer manifested, its form resembling a constellation of thoughts given shape. The Concordat's ships were marvels of progressive development, each system building perfectly upon established principles. But the Prometheus, it wasn't just a vessel, it was a testament to humanity's refusal to accept limitations. Footage from the battle played in the air between them, showing how human technology had turned debris into weapons, twisted physics into new configurations, and treated the impossible as merely inconvenient. The Concordat representatives watched with a mixture of horror and fascination as they truly understood for the first time what they had been fighting against. Your metamaterials don't just adapt, Engsteth realized, addressing Chen. They rewrite their own fundamental properties. You're not using technology. You're convincing reality to reconsider its options. Chen nodded. When we couldn't match your level of conventional advancement, we started asking different questions entirely. Why build better engines when we could simply suggest to space-time that it might enjoy moving us around? Why develop energy weapons when we could invite matter to explore exciting new states of existence? The observers seemed to pulse with approval. This is why we believe your species can benefit from each other. The Concordat's mastery of progressive development combined with humanity's creative reimagining of possibility. Together, you might achieve things that even we haven't considered. But the path forward would not be simple. The Concordat's entire civilization was built around the idea of orderly progression, while humanity's chaotic innovation threatened to upend everything they believed about how the universe should work. Meanwhile, humanity's tendency to leap before looking could benefit from the Concordat's more measured approach. As the negotiations proceeded, something unexpected began to happen. The very room they occupied started to reflect the merging of their perspectives. crystalline structures worthy of the Concordat's finest architects would form, only to flow like water into new configurations that shouldn't have been possible, then stabilize into forms that somehow honored both approaches while transcending them entirely. Your ships, an observer noted, will be the first expression of this new collaboration. Imagine vessels that combine the Concordat's magnificent crystalline technology with humanity's reality-bending innovations, not merely hybrid ships, but entirely new forms of existence that blur the line between vessel and possibility. The first test of this collaboration came sooner than expected. Deep space sensors detected a massive disturbance approaching the galaxy, a tear in space-time that threatened to unravel the fabric of reality itself. The observers revealed that such phenomena had destroyed countless civilizations before they could reach the level of development needed to counter them. This, they announced, is why we have worked so long to find species capable of transcending conventional limits. Apart, neither of your civilizations could hope to address this threat. Together, combining ordered progression with chaotic innovation, you might achieve something unprecedented. As the representatives of humanity and the Concordat looked upon the approaching danger, they realized that their recent battle had been more than just a clash of civilizations. It had been preparation for a much greater challenge. Now they would need to learn to combine their strengths, to forge a new path that incorporated the best of both approaches. The future of the galaxy would depend not on who was right, but on how well they could reimagine everything they thought they knew about progress, technology, and the nature of reality itself. A new dawn. The space-time anomaly approached the galaxy like a wave of unreality, its edges writhing with impossible colors and geometries that shouldn't exist in three-dimensional space. In orbital shipyards around Earth and crystalline construction facilities throughout Concordat space, the greatest engineering project in history was rapidly taking shape. The RSS Synthesis, first of the new hybrid vessels, represented everything humanity and the Concordat could achieve together. Its hull was a seamless fusion of living crystal and quantum-entangled metamaterials, constantly shifting between states of matter that had no names in any language. The ship wasn't just built, it was grown, taught, and evolved. Captain Maya Rodriguez and High Commander Vexterra stood together on its bridge, an impossible collaboration that would have seemed ludicrous mere months ago. The bridge itself was a testament to their merged technologies. Crystalline interfaces that responded to both thought and touch, surrounded by humanity's reality-warping field generators. Final diagnostic complete, announced Dr. Kira Chen, daughter of Director Sarah Chen, and now head of the Joint Human Concordat Science Division. The quantum crystal matrix is stable, and the probability engines are operating beyond projected parameters. The observers manifested around the bridge, their energy forms interacting with the ship's systems in ways that the biological crews were still learning to comprehend. The anomaly will reach the galaxy's edge in 43 standard hours. The synthesis must be ready. Around them, support ships from both civilizations moved into formation. The Concordat's crystalline vessels had been modified with human technology, while Earth's fleet now incorporated elements of crystalline computing and energy distribution. But the synthesis was something else entirely. Not a hybrid, but a wholly new form of technology that treated the laws of physics as polite suggestions rather than hard rules. All crews, battle stations, Rodriguez ordered, her voice carrying across all ships in the defense fleet. Today we prove that the impossible is just something that hasn't been reimagined yet. The synthesis led the fleet toward the approaching anomaly, its sensors reaching across multiple dimensions to analyze the threat. What they found was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. A cascade failure in the fundamental forces holding reality together, caused by the accumulated actions of countless civilizations trying to master the universe without understanding it. The anomaly isn't just destroying space-time, Vexterra observed, their crystalline form reflecting the ship's shifting lights. It's unwriting the very concepts of existence. Conventional weapons would be meaningless. Good thing we don't do conventional, Rodriguez replied with a grim smile. Dr. Chen, Initiate the reality anchor protocols. The synthesis began to change. Its hybrid hull transformed into configurations that hurt to look at, extending structures into dimensions that shouldn't exist. The crystalline technology of the Concordat, designed to channel and amplify energy, merged with humanity's reality-bending innovations to create something unprecedented, a ship that could rewrite the rules of existence itself. Multiple quantum crystal nodes online. Dr. Chen reported. Probability engines at full power. Reality anchor fields stabilizing. Now, the space around the synthesis began to shimmer as the ship extended its influence outward, creating a bubble of ordered reality that stood firm against the approaching chaos. The support fleet moved into precise positions, each vessel adding its power to the effort. The observers watched with intense interest. "You are not simply fighting the anomaly," they noted. "You are teaching reality how to heal itself." As the anomaly struck their defensive line, something remarkable happened. The reality anchor fields didn't just hold, they began to reverse the damage. Waves of reconstructed space-time rippled outward from the synthesis, carrying patterns of possibility that rewrote the anomaly's chaos into new forms of order. "It's working," Dr. Chen exclaimed, her hands dancing across interfaces that existed in multiple states simultaneously. The quantum crystal matrix is using the anomaly's own energy to stabilize the affected regions. The battle raged across dimensions, a conflict unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. The synthesis and its support fleet weren't just fighting to survive. They were negotiating with reality itself, offering it new ways to exist that could accommodate both order and chaos, progression and innovation. Hours passed like centuries as they worked to contain and transform the anomaly. The crystalline ships maintained perfect formation, while reality buckled around them, their human modifications allowing them to adapt to each new challenge. Earth's vessels danced through impossible spaces, their Concordat upgrades giving them the precision needed to maintain control. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity compressed into moments, the anomaly began to dissipate. But what replaced it wasn't empty space. It was something new, a region where the laws of physics had been rewritten to be more stable, more flexible, and more accepting of possibility. "We didn't just stop it," Vexterra realized, their voice filled with wonder. "We evolved it. We showed the universe itself how to grow." The observers flickered with what might have been satisfaction. "This was always the potential we saw in your species, not merely to advance, but to transform, not simply to survive, but to reimagine survival itself." As the fleet regrouped and began the journey home, they left behind more than just a repaired section of spacetime. They had created a template for a new way of existing, one that proved that the most rigid order and the most chaotic innovation could not only coexist, but combine to create something greater than either could achieve alone. The RSS Synthesis returned to Earth orbit as more than just a ship. It was a symbol of what was possible when civilizations chose to transcend their limitations together. In the years that followed, humanity and the Concordat would continue to push the boundaries of possibility, their combined knowledge attracting other species eager to learn this new way of approaching reality. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, the observers watched with growing excitement as their long experiment bore fruit. For the first time in eons, the galaxy was home to civilizations that didn't just inhabit the universe. They participated in its evolution, helping it grow into something more wonderful and strange than anyone had imagined possible. The age of limitation was over. The age of possibility had begun.